There we go. Hello, everybody. We are now recording, just so that everybody who's on the meeting is aware, we are recording. And these, as always, will get posted to our website with in these work group areas. Okay, welcome back, everybody. It's been a while. How's everybody doing? All right, fair enough. Getting some head nods. Okay, so this is not going to necessarily be a session where we're going to be spending a huge amount of time. I think mostly for the right now, we're going to start with the getting some stuff on the books for the next few sessions and talk a little bit about what I think maybe we want as an overall structure for this project. And to kind of segue that in, this group is a little different in this phase than the others, in large part because there's a lot of literature on dependency, delinquency, and criminal performance standards. There's really not a whole huge amount for anything else. So, whereas other groups have a lot of baseline stuff that they can work from, we are starting and likely going to have to create some stuff whole cloth. So what that means in terms of time frame is we might be under a little bit looser of a time frame than the other groups. We're kind of aiming for about 3 months, but let's be honest here. If we can do this in 3 months, that's real fast. Like that's a real fast ask. There are other places that develop performance standards on the timelines of years. So we're going to be looking at these and drafting as well as we can. And I don't know for sure that we're going to be held to the same kind of timeline standards that other groups are. So we're going to aim for let's schedule out for the next 3 months. And then when we get there, we'll see where we're at and what we need to do from there. How does that sound to everybody? Lots of thumbs up. Okay, cool. So for that, it's kind of up to the group. How frequently do we think we should be meeting? And we'll probably go, if we're meeting more than once a week, that's probably way too frequent. We should probably meet more than once a month. I don't know, every 2 weeks seems like a solid plan to me, but what does everybody else think? Also keeping in mind that this is summer and a lot of folks are going to have some unavailability for vacations and stuff.
I had a question about the scheduling and
yeah.
Are we planning to do, if we're doing like every other week or every week or whatever, is that going to be for the whole group is going to get together each time, or would there be, I know some of us are, have different specialties and know almost nothing about the other areas.
Also one of the differences with this group. Yes.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if it makes any sense to kind of split the meetings into a certain topic area and only people relevant to that topic are going to come, or if we're kind of just at what, each meeting will be whatever's makes sense.
So it's a great question. And I don't think that there is one answer. I think this group can come up with the answer for that. I don't think it needs to be I'm not looking to impose any kind of structure on this group that doesn't fit or work. There are, so to put it in kind of broad context of, sorry, go ahead, Jordan.
That's good. I just was to say, I think whatever we do, we're not going to exclude people. So if we break it out into subject matter expertise, and we're discussing a PCR thing one day, even anybody in the group can come discuss the PCR thing. Just didn't want anybody to feel like they were being left out.
I would also note that the overall structure is likely to be that there are performance standards identified that apply across the board to all attorneys practicing anything for in public defense realm. And then there will be content area specific performance standards as well. So the other groups have also restarted and they are working towards, and so there may be some overlap and interplay where, you know, the criminal work group is working on, say, like client contact. Client contact is certainly something that applies to every attorney that does work for us, but the contours of what it looks like might be different in different areas. For instance, habeas, it probably doesn't have to be quite as frequent of client contact as, say, representing a kid in a dependency case. Those are vastly different. Those might end up being vastly different expectations. So that's kind of to give a little bit broader context. There's some variability here, and we're going to be getting stuff from the other work groups in and probably wanted to comment. So no, the short answer, I think, is I don't think we need everybody to be at every group, if that makes sense. Maybe if we do like an every other week type thing, maybe like each month we have one meeting that's everyone and one meeting that like we can do smaller work group, one meeting a week for smaller subject matter groups. So maybe it's like Jordan and I have like 6 meetings in a month, but that's only because there's the one and then 5 different smaller subject matter groups or something. I don't know. That seems like a lot, but hey, that's why we work for OPDC.
Yeah, my thought had been it would just be helpful to know ahead of time, like which topic. I mean, yeah, that makes sense of having like a general meeting with some regularity with everyone. But then if we could know ahead of time what area we're focusing on at the next meeting so that those attorneys that are especially interested in that could make sure to be there. And I guess it seemed like we had some times in the last kind of session where, you know, PCR attorneys that mostly hadn't been able to show up for meetings finally were there. And then we were mostly talking about civil commitment and kind of weren't able to make use of their presence as much. And so just like having some kind of, I don't know, more structure that way could be helpful for attendance and make
totally fair. Yeah. So let's, I'm on board with that. So let's see what we can do to schedule some stuff. How does one meeting a month for like broad general everybody together sound, at least to get those on the books first, and then we can start breaking down into the smaller groups to fill in more subject matter, and those would be specifically for those subjects. And then you'll absolutely know which meetings we're aiming for your attendance, and which meetings are like, if you can show up, awesome. Does that make sense? Cool.
I think that makes sense.
All
Okay,
right.
I propose the first Wednesday of every month for the group meeting.
Let's see. How does that work for everyone else? Oh, there, Allison.
First Wednesday, I often have a meeting at noon. I have one at noon, so if it was a different time, that'd be fine.
I mean, we hit 1 o'clock today. Is 1 o'clock a consistently available time for everyone for the summer? Keeping in mind that, like, if you have plans and you happen to miss a week, no worries.
I proposed it, so it works for me. The only maybe month we should look at is July, just because that meeting would be on the 2nd. So I don't know if maybe the 9th would maybe work better for July.
So the 9th would not work well for me, but that's only because I'm taking time off for my birthday.
Okay.
But maybe I can volunteer Jordan to lead that session.
Yes.
If the 9th works better for everyone else, then that makes total sense. Allison, sorry to catch you up. We are, so this couple of things. This work group is going to be a little bit different from the other three because there's a lot more whole cloth development needing to be done. And what we've kind of tentatively set as a plan is once a month meeting as a full group, and then interspersed within those monthly meetings would be more content area specific meetings for smaller groups where everyone can show up if they're available, cool, but we'll aim specifically to have particular participants from subject areas.
Great.
All right, I'm hearing that the 9th sounds like the right choice. All right, cool. So let's see. So that puts us at June 2nd at 1. No, June 4th, because I can't read a calendar. And then July 9th. And I will send out invites for these after the session. And then August 6th. Yeah, August 6th, I think. Okay, so we'll schedule that far out for now, and tentatively that August 6th would be finalization if we're there, right? I think it's going to be a matter of trying to figure out where we are in the whole process throughout these first few months, because I don't know for sure that we're going to be able to hit a 3-month target, largely because there's a lot of stuff for this group to cover, and having to develop most of this from whole cloth is going to be, that's a rush in 3 months. And y'all have busy caseloads. I don't want to overwork people. So, all right. So let's jump back to now-ish. And let's start with, let's say civil commitment. Let's try and work one meeting in between each of those. What works best for this? Oh, Amanda's not here, but hopefully this will work for her. What days or times might work best for those of you who practice civil commitment? Also knowing that, sometimes you don't know until very, very shortly before a civil commitment whether a scheduled meeting will be available.
In Marion, our hearings are always Mondays and Thursdays. I'm currently handling most of the Mondays, so I can't do Monday afternoons. And Tuesday afternoons are usually a bunch of meetings. I'm generally available, except for June 10th and 11th. I am in trial.
Okay. Allison, what about you?
Mondays were the best day for me, but I mean, our trials in my county are Tuesday through Friday, starting at 9:30. So like the best time to avoid getting bumped by that would be if we could do it early in the morning. So.
Okay.
I can do Monday mornings.
Monday mornings?
Yeah.
Do we want to set
Okay.
8 o'clock on a Monday morning?
It's like the one day I can't do. Sorry, but
Okay.
I could always come for part of it. I have to
Could-
be out by.
We could do
8:30.
it. We could do an earlier time on a different day.
Yeah,
Like
8 a.m. on another day.
Yeah.
What day of the works best? What day of the week works best for everyone?
Wednesday or Friday would be my preference.
That's fine as long as it's not on the 11th.
Becca. Does that work for you?
Sure.
Do we want to aim
I'm
for? Go ahead, Jordan.
So I'm gonna suggest we start at 8:15 as opposed to 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock meetings never seem to work. But if 8 o'clock is the consensus of the group, 8 o'clock it is.
8:15 works for me
I'm fine with that.
any day.
Okay. Do we want to hit the 6th then, which would just be 2 days after the, or do we want, the annual conference is on the 13th, and I don't think we want to book during the annual conference. So the next would be the 20th, if we're looking in June.
The 6th would work for me, or the 20th.
Either works for me.
I'd say 6th.
All right, 6th it is. At 8:15. Oh, you won't let me do 15-minute markers. That's because you're terrible. Okay, I want to look into July then. Let's see. We're definitely not doing the 4th. That's a terrible idea. The 11th, I suppose.
That works for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Back and send these out as convert them and send them as invites. Okay, and then August. Well, or do we want to have one in May before for the first general meeting? Because if we're aiming for August 6th to be our tentative end date.
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay. So how about the 23rd? I guess it's either that or the 30th would be the.
I have court at 8:30 on the 23rd.
30th it is?
That works for me.
I have court at, oh yeah, the 30th. Okay. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, cool. All righty. I think that's good for now. And then as we get a little bit further in, if we need to start scheduling, once we have the one on the 30th, if we say, all right, well, we're clearly not like, there's way too much we're going to need to keep moving beyond August, then we can start bumping some more stuff. Okay, cool. Let's go with PCR. Schedule some stuff.
How about the,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
You're
to
good.
interrupt. How about the 21st of May?
21.
I can't do the 21st through the end of the month. I could do the 19th or 20th of that week or next week.
I could do the 19th, but not the 20th.
I can do the 19th after 8:30 a.m.
Does noon sound okay to people?
Works for me.
Noon, is that what you said?
Yeah, is that okay, Meg? Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Noon on the 21st. No, 19th, excuse me. All right. Looking forward to June.
Okay,
So
somebody else pick a date.
the group would be meeting on the 4th. So after that, the first few days would be the 9th through the 11th. So that we're not butting up into the conference. State offices are closed on Juneteenth, so that is a no.
16th?
The 9th, 10th are bad for me.
Yeah, 16th.
Sorry, which?
How about the 16th at noon?
Yeah, okay. And in July, we want to keep doing the first Monday. No, it wouldn't be the first, it'd be the second. So the 14th at noon.
That works for me.
That works for me as well.
Sweet. All
I
right.
can make that one.
Yeah, Ed, we're good? Okay, cool. Okay. All right. I think that's all for PCR. Habeas. And this is where I think we're going to have a problem because we don't have Joe. We'll skip habeas for now. I'll reach out to him.
Oh, one option for the habeas, I don't know if this works for Ed, is we could just maybe go the next hour after PCR. I don't know if that makes it too long for people though.
I think I could do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm open to that as well.
If we do that, having a scheduled break in there is probably a good idea, just to give everybody a chance to reset their attention spans. Maybe I'm speaking only for myself, but I'll take that.
I'm good with that too. Do we want to set it at 1:30 or do we just want to make note that when we have these meetings, we're going to definitely take a break roughly in the middle of them?
Yeah, that seems fine.
Okay. 16th. Okay, and okay. Okay. And I think the only thing else was PSRB, but I think we kind of need Harris for that, don't we? Was that sorry, go ahead, Bailey.
Oh, I was just unmuting.
I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I think we'll
agree.
need to reach out to him on that front. So, okay, cool. All right. So we've got that all scheduled. Does everybody still have access to the Dropbox? I can send out the link again. But also I'm testing to see if it's still working because Shannon Flowers was the one who set it up. And she's no longer here. So
It was not
There's that.
working for the criminal group, so we had to pivot.
okay.
I have to request access again.
Dang. Okay. All right. Well,
Which we can't grant.
huh? Which yeah,
We can't grant because Shannon.
All right, we will create a workaround for that, and I will send that out. So overall structure, like I said, we're looking at there will be some overarching performance standards that apply to all attorneys. There will probably be some identified where there's just an overarching standard and then some nuances for particular subject matter areas. And then also we're looking at what are the performance standards that are very, very specific to your area of practice. What are the things that we should be expecting an attorney to do as a part of their role? It came up in the dependency group, so I'm going to say it here as well. We don't know exactly what the tone or flavor of these performance standards are going to be and how they relate to the contract. However, the likely piece is that adherence to performance standards is going to be made a term of the contract and as a part of the oversight role. So I want to be upfront that that is a part of where this is headed, that this is going to be a piece of that function. So I think that's basically it for today's session. This was intended just to get stuff calendared and set kind of where we are. So before we all break, what questions do y'all have?
Will there be materials? There would be all the same materials in the Dropbox.
Should
that
be
were
the
there
same materials that were in the Dropbox last round. That is what I could find.
Okay.
If y'all can find other stuff because you may know of more materials resources than I am, by all means, once we get some document sharing capability back in work, either email it to me if I need to be the one to add it to the shared box, or if you can add it in directly, and we'll see what we can do.
It may also be worth taking a look at the state bar's standards for criminal and delinquency cases. It's called the Report of the Task Force on Standards of Representation in Criminal and Juvenile Delinquency Cases from April of 2014. That's the criminal group is going to, I think, base a lot of their stuff off that, and I think the delinquency group is also. So for form and function and flavor text, that might be worth
and there's one for dependency as well, and I anticipate the dependency work group is likely going to use that as a springing point too. So for the idea of what kind of performance standards are out there for various practice areas. I think I put those in the Dropbox last time, but I honestly can't tell for sure. So I guess I can open it and check, but anyway. All right, any other questions? Cool. Thanks for meeting, everybody. I will get those invites out as quickly as I can so that these are all things that you can schedule around. Awesome. Much appreciate you being back. Thank you very much for all your help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.